Give us kind of an overview of what's involved in the CATIE program.
Well, the CATIE program, you know, it's an associate degree level, which is I found very, very attractive because I've been an adjunct professor at USC. I've spoken at colleges. I've done all these panels. I've hired many, 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 you know, film school graduates and non-film school graduates and theater graduates and you name it. And so I have very strong opinions about what it takes, who it takes rather, to make a film. And even directors and producers and all I've worked with, you know, that come from all over, you know, from different backgrounds. So I have very strong opinions. In our program, what we're doing is we start out, the very first thing, the course that I'm now teaching is a producing course, which really has to do with helping the students to understand the industries, any industry that uses moving image. So you have feature films, studio, independent, you have commercials, you have corporate films, webisodes, music videos, wedding videos, I don't know. But whatever tells a story, whatever, we cover that in this class. And a lot of it is about, so you want to make a movie? Here's the reality of it. You know, whether you think a horror movie you can make lots of money, or whether you've got to tell this story, you know, about your Aunt Bertha, you know, whatever, but your passion. What are the realities of that happening? And I get people of all ages, everybody coming and saying, I have this great idea to make a movie and I'm off to do it. Well, the odds are so slim it'll ever happen. We bring in professionals in those areas, the areas that I'm not familiar with anymore. We bring people in from this area so they understand what, for them to go to work in the Dallas-Fort Worth or Texas market, what to expect and how these people make their living, and the odds of getting a job, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then the second is to teach them to make films. And so they shoot short films throughout all 4 semesters. They will shoot exercises, short films. We even have 4 higher films, so to speak. Like they're working with the act. One thing I love about this program is, you know, it's a 30-year-old acting school. So we have 150, 60 actors of all levels there so that they can cast from. We have the classes situated where they have to mingle with them. And so they get to know these people. And so I love that aspect of it. So they will be making films all throughout their 4 semesters with these students and not with the actors. Then during the 3rd semester they will be filming their final project film, which is around 10 minutes. And then the 4th semester they edit it. But the idea is they will leave the program with a film. Now, right now we have 19 students in the first class. There might be 6 films, but they will divide up depending on what their passion is and produce these films. So no matter what you do on the film, it's your film, and then they can use that film hopefully to promote themselves. Right. And then the third is that they will learn craft, that they might pick up enough understanding and ability of craft in one of the disciplines that they might maybe possibly get a job in the industry to pursue their goals, their dreams, which should be a lot easier within the industry to pursue your wanting to make the film than being outside the industry. No matter what you're doing, no matter what job you're in, it's easier to be within the industry. So those are the 3 primary goals. You know, we built the program, and it's not just myself. My wife is a writer, and we researched 16 schools from all over, and the idea being to prepare them to where they can go out into the workforce or go out into the world either to make movies or to find work. Yeah. It's an important part of what we do is we've developed a program more like a theater department in that every person, every student has to do every job. They don't just do it once, they do it until they understand it. They may be terrible at it, but they're going to do it. And the reason is, including acting, they have a creative process class that's fabulous that the actors take that we've modified a tiny bit, Carolyn McCormick. And the idea is that, you know, they have to, here's the rock, find motivation, give me 3 minutes, and, you know, all those things that actors do, and they're going, what? You know, and I got a lot of sort of complaints in the beginning. And one thing I said to them was, do you think maybe in a year or so from now you may look back on that and go, I'm glad I took it? And they said, well, yeah, maybe. Mm. And then the complaints leveled off. And then I would see people dressed like, you know, in tutus, guys dressed in tutus and stuff out in the hallway going, what? Because they were so into it. But the point is the idea being that they will, no matter what job they have on a set, they will understand the other disciplines. And if there's a problem, an actor's not coming out of a trailer, you know, somebody's having a bad day, they have an understanding maybe where that's coming from instead of just going that jerk.
Yeah.
But they might be able to help with it or just simply understand it. And I think the only way you can do that is to live in their shoes, and that's what we do. So I think that our students will be better prepared. I think our students will have a better attitude. In my class, when I ask what I'm constantly saying, define a producer, and the one thing that they have to tell me, I don't tell them they have to tell me, but the one thing I keep harping on is honor, integrity, you know, honesty. In the final exam, same question, you know, every time, you know, what are the qualities of a producer, or what does it take to be a producer? And it's getting where they're getting it. You know, it really does have to do with integrity and honesty and so forth. And
Wow.
So that's a big part of it. We start the program off with a new Panasonic camera, the HMC 40 or whatever. Works with an SD card, but it looks, feels like the professional cameras. In our advanced class, it's the 170, which again replaced the old 200, and there's chip cameras or no take anything, but you know, professionals use the camera, so there's an advantage there. I know a lot of courses, a lot of schools start you off in a consumer camera, and ours aren't. I mean, both our cameras are HD. The low-end camera you can shoot non-HD, which can make sense for certain things. You don't need it, but I mean, what we wanted is if they could be shooting an exercise and it's brilliant, and then they maybe expand it into a short film and they want to submit it to a festival, they'll be able to because it looks great. You know, it's got good sound. They're learning to do it right from the beginning. So many times you make something and it's not, you know, because it was shot on a lower quality, such as these consumer cameras. What do you do with it?
Yeah.
So then you have to reshoot it with better equipment. Well, we start with the better equipment. We also start out with like we have fluorescent style. They're professional looking fixtures and all, but they're fluorescent bulbs because there's no heat, because they're going to drop things, they're going to bump things. So we don't want a situation where if something breaks, oh my God, you know, it's like hugely expensive. But they're professional lights, are just fluorescent, so they're cool. So, and then we go to the advanced class, then they're airy lights. I mean, they're the exact same lights you would see on a movie set. Well, then by the third semester, they know how to use those lights. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you know, you crawl before you walk, before you run, but we do it with equipment and with an attitude of professionalism. In our course, each student receives is issued a 15-inch MacBook Pro that has a full Final Draft, Final Cut Pro, Gorilla budgeting and scheduling, as well as Office for students at home. Now these are full versions. So a lot of schools will give you either what's called a seat or a student version. And the seat usually is when you leave school, you have to give sort of the code back. So you can't upgrade. You can't get the upgrade. You can't get any support. Well, ours are that they get full support. So with a student version, the same. It's not as robust. Well, ours are full versions. So like with Final Cut Pro, you know, it's $900, $800. So when they get the new version, it's a couple of $100 versus $800 or $900 to get the next version. Does that make sense? So we spent the extra money to provide them with the tools that when they leave our school, they've just not slammed the door. And we even have a course in the fourth semester, Advanced Development. It's a 4-hour lab. And the idea of that course is for them to gain experience and knowledge for after they graduate. So we will, in that course, if somebody, let's say, wants to expand their short script into a feature, they could go sit in a corner and stare at a corner and write. And that's what they do. And then we can bring in writers or people to help them. If somebody wants to be a cinematographer, then we could bring in a cinematographer to work with them on occasion, or maybe get them an internship somewhere, or even if someone decides they don't want to be in the film industry and they want to be an accountant or something, great. We can bring in an accountant to talk to them about here's what you need to do to be an accountant. The idea being that when they do graduate, they have 3 to 6 months of momentum afterwards to be able to pursue whatever it is they're doing, that the door's just not closed.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they might come into the program with one idea of what they want to do and then leave it with an entirely different one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we do. I've learned that many times. There's a friend of mine here in town, actually, years ago as a PA. He was working in as an assistant. He wanted to become an assistant director, and I just didn't think he was suited, but there was an opportunity for him to work in the art department, and I convinced him to do it. He didn't want to do it, but he needed a job. Well, he ended up becoming a production designer. I mean, he got in there and went, whoa, this is what I want to do. In the second semester, we have, we're going to spend several weeks, Clark Lindsley, the teacher, and it's going to be like shooting a TV series. But when you do a series, the pilot establishes the look of the picture. It establishes the characters. It's all established. So when the director comes in to do, episode number 12 or 112, that director, there's not much he can do with the look, the feel, the cast, etc. Okay, so we're giving everyone the same script. They will go shoot the same locations with the same actors, and they have to shoot this sort of episode. And the teacher becomes what's called the showrunner. The person, the executive producer, the head writer, that's over it, that dictates, all those things, the look and feel. And they have to shoot this new episode with this person. You can't do that. You got to stay with this. They understand, because the reality of filmmaking, most of what you will be doing in your career is other people's projects.
Yeah.
So they need to understand that to be able to make a living, to go down a path, so then they can do what they really want to do, to be in that showrunner position, so to speak. But the likelihood of them getting right out of school and becoming the filmmaker on their own is remote.
Yeah.
For them to even work on a film is remote. But we feel with the way we're doing it, they'll have a better opportunity to work in the film industry.
Gotcha.